So, I saw this post over at the gram by a guy named Lord Flashheart, right? That's an awesome name and a cool Blackadder reference, but more importantly, he kitbashed a VTOL helicopter thingy for his Adeptus Arbites. And I was like, nope, that's a Vertibird. Totally a Vertibird. So I stalked him for a while, and his page has multiple posts about this project specifically. One even had a tiny small sniper boy. And at this point it just got me tempted enough to try it for myself. I DM'd him for the kits he used, and he was kind enough to not only provide me with a detailed parts list, but also allow me to make a tutorial on it and post it here. If this is your type of thing, go check him out and please tell him Bez said hi. Fellow cultists, without further ado, yeah, I think I'm back. And let's do it! What up, miss me? Yeah, I've been gone for a short while. About a couple years of a short while, but nevertheless, this project convinced me to come back for a second try, which I'll talk about later. For now, let's jump into the shopping list. We will need one Spacemarine Stormhawk and one AdMech Archeopter, thank you very much. I'll list the names for them in the description below if you got the time to do it for yourself. I should mention the original recipe from Lord Flashheart did have a bunch of Valkyrie and Forge World bits, but I'm skipping those since I'm going for something that'll look like an actual Vertibird, which means chunky. A general good tip for Warhammer newcomers is to always read the instructions really carefully. After that, you may ask yourselves, why would someone need a Vertibird in the 41st millennium? Oh my dear cultists, nothing says nuclear holocaust like the death core of Krieg. We're gonna start off with cutting out the wings and the fuselage of the Archeopter, plus the tail section of the Stormhawk. The goal is to attach the tail to the main body in a way that the transition seems natural. In this case, using green stuff putty and plastic art would be definitely on the table. For the wings, however, we won't need the section that has a canvas thingy, since that is not much Brotherhood of Steel aesthetically. And finally, we got to figure out how to attach the engines to the wings. The cables on the wings are supposed to make it go flappy flappy lore-wise, and we are sticking to it for structural reinforcement. Another thing that I was thinking about was the details that I wanted to add. The pew-pews that come with the Archeopter are very Fallout. I had a bunch of ammo crates from the Munitorum box, which could be useful for the interior. Also found a bunch of bits and pieces for the tank crew that comes with the recent Pass Me the Solar Aux Cord box set. And I think that would be it. Whenever I kitbash anything, I spend a good deal of time trying to visualize what my process will be like. In this case, I must figure out what's the best way to cut out the door to form the canopy area that the sniper will be placed at. Aside from the weird accent I had during the entire voiceover recording, because we all know you must have a weird accent to get anywhere on YouTube or Twitch nowadays. I must also wag my finger at specific areas like a cheapo tool salesman from China for no reason in particular. Other than that, there is also the Stormhawk's tail that needs some cutting and modification. At first, I thought a longer tail would need more work with green stuff, but gives me more space to add more details. That idea ended up being scrapped. Alright, so I promised I will explain what happened to me, and here it is. I won't take long since I'm not the type that would spend 30 minutes to justify something that can be explained in less than a minute. When I was doing my uploads 3 years ago, I was so bored during the lockdown that I had nothing better to do other than play Minecraft and record it and upload it to YouTube. At that time, I had some personal issues that needed my full undivided attention, and you can actually notice that if you were to watch those videos right now. That's about it. Plus, now that I look back, that was probably for the best, with the whole shenanigans and drama revolving around Minecraft YouTubers right now. But I decided to keep those videos up just as a reminder of how far I came along, for the sake of internet archiving, and for Turkey Tom's later consumption. I know you've been screaming at your screens while I was using a blade to clean these parts. And right now you might be even asking, why did I just clean the sprue marks of an area that is going to be cut down? And my answer to that is bolt cutters. When cutting the original tailpiece of the Archeopter, don't go all the way. Instead, leave enough room for later so that when a Shlami shows up... Nope, we're not doing a plumbus. Please write that off. We will need enough tail piece so that when we attach the new tail, it has enough space for glue to bond. And also Schlamm shows up and spits on it. Since I did not want to just yap my way through this entire thing, I decided that putting pictures on the screen that I took during recording and explaining them would be more useful for those of you who want to build this thing for yourselves. So let's do that. As you can see here, this was what I initially wanted to go for. I didn't feel good about it because the tail would be too long in comparison to the fuselage. What happened instead is I noticed where Stormhawk's engine would usually go is nearly the same diameter of where the Archeopter's vertical jets are. And here is what it looks like. The shorter tail and natural transition really gave me that Vertibird feel I was looking for. The next part, which is completely optional.
Believe me when I say this, you can't just skip this step. It took way too much longer than I was expecting, and that's just me being stubborn.
Is the interior. The difficult part was to cut it in half in a way that I can take it apart and put it back together for painting later on.
So I took some nearly rectangular pieces of plastic card and marked their contact points with the body, followed by cutting them in half only to glue them on, and contemplate my life choices trying to figure out how to align the two halves together.
And then, the fun part of adding bits and pieces for detail. Which brings me to, if you're thinking you want to take the effort and do this, then have at it. I mean, knock yourselves out, go to town with it.
What I did in this case was to glue a modified ammo box for the overhead storage compartment, and one for the passenger seats, a Krieger box backpack for the comms radio, a set of tank turret hatches for a hatch, and a typewriter monitor thingy for some sort of flight transponder.
I almost forgot a crucial part of the interior's assembly, which would be to cut another ammo box and add it to the model like this, which would be the ledge that the sniper will be standing on. If you don't want to paint the inside with all the tiny bits and all of the details, you can just skip that part and stick with the plastic art floors, because there's a Krieger blocking the way, and unless you pick up the model and look through the gaps, you're not gonna see anything. If you've been following up so far without a headache, prepare for one of the most challenging levels of this project, which is to do the green stuff and plastic art combo to get some tail. Be prepared, as this will require more patience than driving behind a 90-year-old grandma on a single lane gravel road with a standstill traffic ahead. The goal here is to cover the space between the tail and the hull with plastic art and come back later with green stuff to fill the gaps. If we only use the forbidden chewing gum, it would snap off very easily because it needs something rigid like plastic art to become more robust. The lesson I learned the hard way for molding the putty to get them curves was to prime the model so that the putty would not stick to the plastic. Then apply a little bit of water with a brush, stick the green stuff and press the tail against the curves to get their imprints. I cannot emphasize how much patience is needed because this will seriously take a long time, mostly because you will be forced to do the last step multiple times. For even more detail, I replaced the Mechanicus pilot with a Krieger by simply swapping their heads, which was fairly easy. All you need to do is gently cut the respirator pipes of the Atmec guy and use a tiny amount of green stuff to attach the torso and the pipes to the Krieger's head. This way we get a cooler looking pilot and the risk of him enthusiastically nosediving into the ground in the middle of a dogfight. I would like to thank the video editing me right now, because the voiceover recording me really enjoyed the coincidence of the picture slides ending right where the video recording me was cutting out the door of the Archeopter. As you can see, I took my drill and punched a lot of holes like this bird has been present at the Siege of Terra, and then carefully using my blade to slice from one hole to another. The good thing about this method is that there is more material to spare to get a cleaner doorway. All that gratitude I just expressed has now jumped out of a window because apparently I failed to keep my breath hooks inside of the camera's frame when I was attaching the wings to the engine. Not only that, but I also forgot to take some pictures during the process, so now I have to attempt and explain it while you guys use your imagination to visualize it. You must drill one hole into the engine panel and a deeper one into the side of the wing. Then pin the two together with a stripped paper clip and super glue it in place. After that, you can proceed to stuff the area with green and let it cure for a while. Once it has become stiff, smooth the surface by cutting it with your blade. Try your best to keep it as symmetrical as possible with both wings, but more importantly, mind the direction of the engine. You definitely do not want to attach the parts backwards. Alrighty, now I have to ask a personal question here. Please do give me your opinions in the comment section below. Would you rather have me edit future videos like this, with an avatar of the yapping troll that I am roaming freely on the screen, or keep the videos as they have been up until now. My thought process here is that since some of you need your visuals constantly stimulated at all times, the added avatar could kinda make this more entertaining for you? Yes? No? I don't know. I mean, I could potentially use my current YouTube profile picture as an avatar, but this poorly AI generated troll thingy is also kinda neat. Yay! Now we get to jump into the part that took me 2 weeks to do, but you guys will get to see it in a couple of minutes. Let's talk paints. These are all Citadel colors and the palette is going to be mostly Corvus Black and Atmic Grey. There are some areas with Cantor Blue and some metallic areas with Gold, Silver and Bronze schemes. For shaders, we will need Nuln Oil, Agrax and Reichland Flesh Shade. And here are the Kriegers, my beloved, that deserve a separate video of their own. For now, their pictures should suffice, because these guys are just something else. Now let's move on to the miniatures base. I went for a Bethesda style wasteland to match the Fallout theme I had going on. It was made with cutting up random shapes on a cork board and attaching them with a hefty amount of wood glue. A couple of nuclear waste barrels here and there, and pouring wood glue in that open area in the middle to create a pool of radioactive ooze, and adding a bunch of dried tree bark for the boulders. For the soil, a generous amount of sterling mud was added along with random puddles of Martian iron earth that will crack up and form the desolated parts, I suppose. Then it was all primed in black and I started adding a lot of colors that ended up looking like how Bethesda does their vanilla texture packs for Fallout, which I found lovely. Before we move on to the final product reveal, I want to mention a couple of things that went into the making of this video. Aside from a lot of effort and time that was poured into this project, with the addition of my interdimensional TV mixed with how it's made style narration, I got to shamelessly plug myself here. Pretty please consider hold it there, other me. There is a bit of a problem and your self-promotion will come again in just a bit. It seems that from this exact point onward, the entire 30 seconds you've recorded has been messed up beyond repair, and now I gotta fix it by filling it with even more blabbering. Why did this video take so long to get posted? Why is the timeline so messed up? You did some of the recording when the Solar Auxilia Plastic Edition came out, and that's like 2 months ago. Then, this Kitbash was supposed to ride on the Fallout hype, which is nearly, if not completely, gone by this point, and I just don't get it. Whoop, I give up. Too many goopy things have hit the ceiling fan and I ran out of patience. I had the bright idea to do this final bit with some mouth noises and elbow grease, singing along to a very appropriate song. But my barely legal team heavily advised me against it. It took them 2 weeks to talk me out of it. In this case, if you were told to prepare for a nuclear attack, don't. Nah, my recording setup sucks. Had too many failed attempts to get a good vocal line and beat out of it, and in this case, I suppose just yapping my way out of this video would be more time and cost efficient for me, since I really want to get to the next video already. Plus, I did get some practice with my DSLR to do some corny effects and whatnot, which proved to be a hassle since I really don't have that much experience with cameras and focus settings, and I just kept pressing some buttons and the camera made some beep boop noises and it took some footage. Yeah, let's just take this cue to end the video right here. Make sure you pay a visit to Lord Flashart on Instagram, which I really appreciate him for inspiring the idea of the Vertibird Kitbash. I'll link him in the description below. You could also check my other videos. I mean, would you really want to? No judging, but they're really heinous. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons. And also ring the notification bell, which would really help me make bigger and better projects. Seriously, I need that sweet YouTube money because of my crippling Warhammer addiction. I'm feeling like if I don't buy anything tomorrow, the store manager will hire a bunch of goons to drag me into the store and force me to buy that new box that is coming out. And GW raising the prices like they always do really doesn't do my wallet any good. I mean, leave a comment below and tell me what Kitbash would you like to see happen next. I'm thinking a T60 power armor would look really dope. Okay, bye.